Greetings, travelers.
Greetings, travelers, for Jump Scare June. Did you see how I did that?
I'm scared.
Are you terrified, Mark? You should be.
I'm shaking in my boots. Yes.
As as I will probably be at the end of this episode.
Yeah, shivering in my shorts. It's Jump Scare June. Appropriately, we are heading to Smoky Mountain Terror,
Yes.
which is amazing con that's up in Tennessee, and we'll have the links to it in the show notes. That will be our first appearance together in a bit. So
Yeah.
a hot minute since we've done an appearance, both of us.
That's
So,
very, very true. Very true.
so we are excited to be there. We have some photo ops from some of the celebrities. They have got an amazing lineup of guests. Oh my gosh. If you haven't looked, they've done some changes. A couple people canceled, so they brought in even more.
You know, I'm super excited,
Yeah.
Stissa Brown, because somebody's going to get a picture with
Yep.
Mark and the Twilight Vampires.
Yeah, I will go for that one. But my boy Dennis O'Hare is going to be there, and I have to bring him a coffee, right?
Yes, I'm
I
excited
owe him
for
a coffee.
that. I
I owe
need to
him
be a
a coffee.
part of that particular interaction because we know how much he likes you.
You have to point out to me when he's flirting with me or not.
Yes,
But
we'll have to have a code word when that's happening
yeah,
so that you're
something
aware.
like that. And then my gosh, they just added our boy from Fanboys and Fantastic Beasts, and Fogler. Right?
Yeah.
I'm excited. So I got to get a Fanboys autograph from him.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But they're having like the Lost reunion. They've got Mother's Milk from The Boys. They've added a ton of stuff. So I'm very excited for this one.
I am too. I am super duper excited for
So yeah,
all
get
of
your
this.
tickets. Tickets are still available, only $20 a day.
Well, it's happening tomorrow, so hurry up and
Yeah.
travelers, come see us. This is going to be such a fun festival. You get to see both me and Mark, and also our celebrity guest, which is Terry, your amazing
Carrie
wife, is going
Schultz.
to be there.
Get
So you
your,
can
get your books signed and a little sketch in them. Now we've got Grafton Monster the week after
yes.
up in West Virginia. So if you missed that one, you got that one. But go to eerietravels.com. It has all of our upcoming appearances.
All of the places we will be.
But
today, Mark, we're doing one of my favorite parts of this show.
Yes.
Which is we're going to do some listener tales.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I said I was going to be
Guys
scared
have
at
been
the end of
sending
this
us-
because I always am. I'm just listeners, travelers. I just want you to be aware that I think about some of the stuff you tell us a lot. And when me and Mark were on our recent road trips, and we go on road trips, we talk about some of the things you guys tell us because we're going to use them to research for future episodes, but also because it scares the crap out of us.
We have sent teams to investigate, and we actually have some follow-ups to some of our earlier listener tales coming soon from some investigative teams that have done months, if not a year, of exhaustive research on a couple of the places you guys have requested from these tales. And I can't wait to start telling those stories soon. Man, there's some great stuff going on. But thank you all so much for these, and we will get right to it, I guess, Erika.
Yeah.
We've wasted enough time putting it off because this is Jump Scare June. We've got some spooky things coming, so let's go with this.
Wow.
Who wants to start?
I don't know. Do you want to start or do you think I should start?
You always tell me that I'm stacking the deck, so you pick.
Oh God, I don't know. Okay. Okay, fine. I'll start.
All right.
Okay. Greetings, travelers.
Greetings.
We had an interesting experience at the Okaloosa. Did I say that correctly?
Okaloosa, yeah.
Okaloosa test area, west side. My sister and I stopped because we had to stretch and go to the bathroom and let the dog go potty, which is very important in a road trip.
Yes.
So we went up and walked into the restroom. We'll see heard a woman crying in the back stalls. We looked at each other and figured she had a fight with her boyfriend and was calming down. We use the facilities and she's crying all the time. We go to leave and we check under the doors. There are no feet and all the doors are open. We are the only ones there, but the woman is still crying. Ah, look, goosebumps.
Goosebumps. Yep.
Goosebumps. Okay, needless to say, we hauled butt out of there. Haven't been back to that one since Nicole. Well, Nicole, thank you for starting off by scaring the living crap out of me. Mark, what? First of all, I think you should send somebody to investigate this, right?
Yeah, I think that's the Okaloosa rest area. I've heard some stories, but I haven't heard anything about the actual rest stop itself. But man,
What would you do in this situation out of curiosity? Because if
I
I
would reach
heard a
out.
woman crying in the bathroom,
Yeah.
my immediate thing would be like, hey, are you okay? And stuff
Mhm.
like that.
Yep.
But
Hey,
the moment that I saw there was nobody in there.
I've heard stories like this. We've experienced stuff like this. So that's one of those, hey, can we help? Is there anything we can do? And then if you don't get a response, there's not much you can do, but that's when you say, there is hope, there is help. What can we do for you? And reach out. But that's what I would do. That's as far as I would go with it. I don't know. That this is when a team needs to get out there and investigate properly.
Yeah, no, I would say so. The other thing I'm going to say is, you know what this reminds me of?
Hmm.
This reminds me of the video game Left 4 Dead with the witch.
The witch. Yes.
Because
If you,
she's just a crying person. And then she's not.
yeah. And it's bad.
Very
So
bad. I don't love
that
this
could
at
be.
all.
Things can attach. So that's one of the things why I said I'd get a team, someone professional to investigate.
So Nicole, thank you for scaring me first thing
Yeah.
in
Right
the
off the bat. That's a good
yeah.
one. So
As we
thank you.
begin this, that's fantastic and yet
All right.
terrifying.
So my
Okay,
turn.
Mark.
Greetings, travelers. Greetings.
Greetings.
Hi, longtime listener. I've got a potential Mandela for you. Oh, Mandela effect. All right.
Woot woot.
Back when I was in the 6th grade, we watched the spaceship Challenger on TV in class at school, watched it explode. It was 1984. I remember it was 1984 because we had just did the class board that week and I was in charge of making and cutting out the big numbers for the year 1984. And it was on the wall right above where they rolled the TV in the big cart. But it supposedly didn't happen in 1984, but instead in 1986. In 1986, I am positive it happened in 84. Luke.
Okay, so you know what, Luke? I actually agree with you. I didn't know it was stated here in this plane of existence or dimension to be 86. I know it was 84 because I remember being in class. We talked about this on our
Yes.
recent road trip.
Yep.
Remember, I said the age and everything
Yep.
because
Yep.
I was in elementary school. Remember, I said I was in R.D. White Elementary School when this happened, and I told you the whole story of how it happened. But I would have been in middle school in 86. I wouldn't have been at R.D. White Elementary.
Yeah, I was in junior high in Charleston, West Virginia, which we didn't move down to Florida, but we moved down to Florida in 84, right in the middle of it. So I might have to double check my dates when we moved to Florida.
Okay, Mark, make a note for our Mandela Effect episode because
Yeah.
I just got the heebie-jeebies worse than the first story because I remember it being 1984.
Things are shifting. Things are shifting. Who knows? Timelines are in flux. So let's get.
Luke, we're from the same dimension, whatever that is.
Yeah. Dolly had braces. That's all I got to say.
Wow.
That floored you, right? Right off the bat. Well, you guys are starting us off great. Okay. This one's got a little meat to it, it looks like, Erica, but here you go. All yours.
Oh, okay. Oh no. Oh no, I'm reading the first line already and don't want to move forward.
That's all I looked at that. I'm like, oh yeah, Erica's got fun with this one.
Somehow you are doing this to me and I don't understand how you're doing it. Okay, here we go. Whew, whew. Deep breath. Okay. There was something in our room last night. I sound nuts.
There. Just in the story
no,
there.
I'm already out. Done. Burn it down. Burn it down. Okay.
Okay, sorry.
Here we go. There was something in my room last night. I sound nuts or dramatic, but it wasn't a dream. First of all, you're not nuts or dramatic, and let's keep going. My partner stays over most nights every other week, and this was one of those nights. I have nights where I dream normal dreams, and I have times where I travel. I guess astral projection would be the closest quote unquote term or whatever, but I don't know. I go somewhere else. It's been very different than dreaming. Last night I was traveling. That's fine. All good. but I came out in the middle of the night and there was something there in my room. Okay. Okay. Oh, he or it was tall and dark, and its quote unquote face was like a light, but it was smudged, so there was no face. Ooh, I don't like that. Ugh. And it was just empty and cold, and it was like it was pulling towards itself. I could tell it was watching, and it felt like it wanted me to reach out to my partner. I felt like it wanted something so badly, it was like anger. I stayed frozen until I started traveling again and went somewhere completely new, somewhere I've never been when in that state. That was alone and very weird for me. My partner is very sensitive and had expressed a similar entity following them, but months ago. I sound crazy. I feel crazy. Okay, first of all, any traveler out there, you are not crazy and you don't sound crazy. This is an
Experiencing something you
experience.
do not understand. That's
Yes,
all it is.
yes. If it's following them, why am I seeing it now? Or if it's following me somewhere. To be clear, I'm not sensitive to entities. I've experienced something in my physical space like this only once before in my entire life. I am unsettled. And it somehow makes it worse that it seemed like it wanted me to reach out to my partner. I don't even know what I'm looking for. Does anyone you all know have experience with something like this? I know I sound batshit anonymous. You are not batshit anonymous, and
Oh,
thank you for sending this to us.
yeah.
So I think it's interesting because I had a lot of experiences like this as far as the dreaming when I was a child,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but they asked two questions. Why are they seeing this now? Or is it following me from somewhere? But it
Yeah.
doesn't sound like that. It sounds like it's attached to her partner or
Yeah,
their
it does,
partner. I should
especially
say
since you
their.
didn't see
Sorry,
it.
did not mean to.
Yeah, yeah, you didn't see it before then, and then it happens. It's unusual to say the least. I again would suggest if you travel in your dreams or in your sleep, that's something we've talked about. We just
Yeah.
recently talked about that with Ron from Wild and Weird West Virginia. He's a remote viewer. We've talked about this with a few other people. It's something that can be trained and used to focus and stuff. You can try to see what else you can do with it. But if there was something interacting with you, something pulling you, something negative, yeah, you want to be careful with that. So I would say start looking into a little bit of protection abilities. Try focusing on some positive things while you're doing it to see if you can push it away. You're not crazy, but you've definitely got something that could potentially be harmful. So,
Yes, and there is a protection crystal that's shaped like they usually look like a heart. They're like a little seashell in it. And the on our witch episode, she talked about it when we talked to the girl who runs the metaphysical shop in Pennsylvania. She talked about the crystal, which name I can't remember, but maybe setting up some protection. However, it does sound like you may want to reach out to somebody like Serenity Jenny or something, or have your partner reach out
mhm.
because maybe whatever this is actually tried to get your partner's attention and is escalating because it sounds like a shadow person to me.
Yeah, I would say Phyllis would be good with this
Or
too.
Phyllis.
Yeah.
Yeah. If
So
you'd like us to anonymous get you in contact, or you can reach out yourself. You are
yeah.
not crazy at all. And I would, because it sounds like whatever this is escalating. It's communication, and it may not be bad, but it also sounds like it's wanting you to do something. I'd be curious to know if your partner has ever felt blanketed, meaning
Oh
like
yeah.
kind of like sleep paralysis, but felt like something was laying on top of it like a wet blanket.
Mm, good call.
Because it would be interesting to see if this is something trying to get his body and thought, well, he's sleeping and you're kind of just cruising around. He's vulnerable and maybe you could help it. Anyway, now I'm thoroughly freaked out and I won't sleep. So that's cool. Cool, 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 cool. All about that. Nice.
Yep. Nice,
Thanks,
nice, nice.
Anonymous.
All right. Let's
Okay.
see. Hey everyone. I'm new to the podcast and hope this story is acceptable. Now they're all acceptable. So
Mm-hmm.
I had a similar story to those on one of your listener tales episodes. When I was in my early 20s, I lost time. I wasn't alone. My friend and I went to the cinema to see a movie. We didn't plan which film. We knew several films we liked were playing. We got there, sat down, laughed at the ads before the movie began, and that's it. We woke up the next day not remembering one thing from the night before. We both recalled the ads, but that's all. No drugs or alcohol were consumed. What happened? 30 years later, I'm still puzzled by this. Weird. P.S. We checked what played the night before, and none of the movies rang a bell. We have no memory of that night whatsoever. Natalie.
Matrix.
Well, Natalie, that is missing time. You exactly described it right there. You remember bits, but you don't remember everything. Now, my question is, did you remember leaving the theater? You just remember being home? Did you wake up the next morning in your bed and don't remember at all the night before? That means something. That's classic alien abduction scenario where you've lost a day. My problem is I have epilepsy, so I lose days often, and it is one of those where I don't realize I've missed the day. I wake up the next day going, "Oh wow, I've got to do this today," and then I look at, oh wait, that's done. Did I do that yesterday? Oh, I did. So it's a little different for people like that, from my experience.
I agree, but it does definitely sound like either alien stuff or
Glitch in the Matrix.
Bliss in the Matrix. Yeah. Lots of people have said that. So you're not alone. You're not alone. And unfortunately, I don't know how easy it is to get an answer to what the heck happened. Mark, thoughts?
Yep. I don't know. I would say just keep trying to focus on that night. It can help maybe bring up a connection, maybe bring up something that you might have missed. Hypnosis therapy might be able to bring it back up.
Ooh, you know what might also work? Okay, so I've been going on a deep rabbit hole down certain TV shows, as we all know. And in Criminal Minds, one of the things they do is what's called a cognitive interview,
Yes.
which I don't know if they work or not. It's a TV show. This is kind of like my understanding medicine from House and ER.
Yeah.
But one thing is you may want to look to see if that's something that somebody could do if you have hesitation on hypnosis and stuff. Because I know some people have hesitation on being put under and stuff, but a
Mm.
cognitive type interview might work. You
Yeah.
Anyway, it's
Yeah.
worth looking
The only other
into,
option is like regression therapy, stuff like that. So
which
I think
that can get
that can
that
get
can get interesting.
and
You
that
know,
can get false positives. Look at the whole satanic panic. So
well, it was interesting. I ironically had an episode on that, and my boyfriend was asking me because one of the things they talked about were how they used to do that kind of no, not repress memory. What is it called? It's something memory, where they did this on children, but they did it to the point of like they had to find something. So adults were being teachers and stuff like this were being accused of molestation and things.
yeah,
Not that I'm
it was
sure some of
because
it
of the
happened.
whole when we first started having to report physical injuries, when doctors were starting to actually have to report things that used to be kept quiet. Well, it can't be the parents that are doing this. Parents can't be hurting their kids. So that's when it became, oh, well, it must be a teacher. It must be a satanic cult. It must be a lot of other things. And that was what caused the satanic panic. I was right at the start of it.
It's definitely interesting, but you're not alone in this, traveler, at all. Do
Nope.
we have a name for our traveler? It's Natalie. Natalie, you are
Natalie.
not alone. Yeah, look into those things because that might help you, but be very careful because one of the things that we tend to do is if we quote unquote recall a memory enough times, we sometimes start believing that, and it may not be an actual memory. It might be
Yeah.
something you've invented. So just make sure you don't go down that rabbit hole because that can kind of mess us up in the
I can
future.
screw things up too, yeah, because I know people who can pass lie detector tests on things because they just believe it so strongly, and it's
Yeah.
yeah,
Don't love that. Don't
most of
love
them are
that.
politicians. But all
But
right,
Natalie, so glad you're listening.
yeah, thanks, and keep catching up. Hope you enjoy some of the other episodes. So, all right, okay, did I do that one? I did that one. So your turn.
Oh, yes. Okay. I'm asking anonymously because we're freaking out. Of course you are. Has anyone you all know ever encountered a skinwalker, or what they have thought to be specifically around the Cumberland State Park in Tennessee, really anywhere? I have evidence from last night of an encounter while chasing Northern Lights.
Hmm.
Also, did anyone else feel extremely drained or overly agitated, like you were on steroids, like progesterone is the best
Prednisone.
I can describe it?
Prednisone.
Prednisone, sorry, prednisone is the best I can describe it. I think with the geomagnetic storm was a portal opened. My family was walking all over the bridge at the park and started feeling like they were being watched heavily, and heard what they thought was a giant deer that kept getting louder and closer, and some noise that wasn't cracking branches from walking. They were randomly snapping pics trying to get the lights. When it got closer, they literally ran in tears back to the car. After everyone calmed down, we looked at the pics and saw this. First pic, please zoom in on the right of the bridge. Second pic as well, you'll see a wolf face. I'll try to post the zoom pics as well. Sorry, this tale or question is all over. We're freaked out. Do you
They
have these
sent,
pictures, Mark?
I do, and I forgot to post them for this, so I will post them in the chat at
What are
the.
you seeing in the picture, though?
I see some fuzzy pictures. Sadly, I don't see the faces of a wolf or anything like that. I'd love this to be something unusual. Now, Cumberland State Park in Tennessee, there is some weird stuff there. So I'm not debunking this or devaluing this at all, but I think the pictures are just nighttime pictures. It's really hard to see anything in them. So, but we will
Okay.
post them in the Discord.
Here's the thing. We all know when you have interesting, because we talked about this with the eclipse, right?
Yeah,
They turned on the collider for the eclipse.
on top of everything else.
Yeah, but the eclipse itself brings things, and having an electromagnetic storm will bring things. And we don't know if in the preternatural world that ramps things up. But to have your entire family experience agitation and upset, then something happened. I don't know what happened, but something happened, because generally you don't have a group separate freak out and all running back to the car. Plus, we do know there are dogmen in these areas. We've gotten reports of dogmen in these areas. So, wolf-like figure, that sometimes is dogmen. As far as being a skinwalker or a hide behind, or one of these creatures that you don't see, this is the only thing I will say. I feel like generally when we've heard about them, and Mark, correct me, they are very quiet and very tricky. They
Yeah,
do
they
not make a lot of noise.
yeah,
They,
this sounds like something else. That was my other thought, was that this sounds definitely more brutal, something
yeah,
wanting to scare you. This
yeah.
this goes with my fearmonger
And
theory and stuff, where this is something that really wanted to hype you guys up and was feeding those negative emotions, negative energies, and that's less skinwalker and more something
yeah,
scary,
and
right? And the wolf face, that could be just a dog man.
yeah.
So
And I would say this, one of the things
I
about
think that
the fear
uh,
mongers and stuff that we've talked about is every person is going to see it differently
yeah.
and feel it differently. So where one of you may have seen a wolf, we're not saying if that wasn't a dogman or something, but another person might see a spider or a clown or whatever the heck you're
Yeah.
afraid of, right?
I
So,
think there's some sort of earth elemental or something like that. I don't know. We're figuring it all out. Again, preternatural stuff we don't understand yet.
but it sounds like it had a nice snack on your fear. So
But
I'm
you're
I'm
all
sorry
alive.
you went
You
through
all made it
that.
out of there, and it didn't do any permanent harm, hopefully. So,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad to
okay,
hear that that was the case.
let's do one more before the break. Sound good?
Yeah, because I'm sufficiently freaked out again. So yes,
Okay.
you do one more before the break.
I know you're all going to say I'm not crazy, but maybe. I dreamed, or it was my imagination, but I'm telling you, I didn't, and it wasn't. I was on vacation with my older sister and grandma at our aunt and uncle's Florida condo when we were swimming in the pool, as we all did every day. And every day while we were there, we spent an entire month there. One day while swimming in the pool, I was underwater and I swear I could breathe underwater! Exclamation point. I was shocked, freaked out, but amazed and afraid to come up because once I did, the magic would be gone and would never happen again. So I swam around underwater and enjoyed it as much as I could. But then I got worried that someone was eventually going to think I was drowning because I was under the water so long. So I surfaced. And just as I thought, once I did, the magic was in fact gone. When I went back under the water, I couldn't breathe underwater anymore. I've never forgotten this. I remember the people I was in the pool with, the bathing suit I was wearing, everything. I was 8 years old. Shannon.
Well, hello, Shannon.
Hi, Shannon. You're not crazy.
You're not crazy. And so, again, I had a similar experience like this when I was younger. And I think you might have had a fae come help you, like a little underwater visitor.
That's a thought. That is a thought. There are things, again, there are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in our philosophy. I've had people who've told me they've had events where they jumped somewhere. They were trying to jump over a small creek, so they didn't get their shoes wet, and they kept jumping. Like they went further than they intended, and like they had to physically stop themselves, or they would have just kept jumping. Like again, glitch in the matrix, or a no clip on your in your Skyrim. Physics are things that we still study, and we're learning new things about quantum entanglement and dark matter and all these other strange things. I think there are things that our brain can do and our bodies can do that we don't expect, and it just happens. And you might have triggered something that did that. I like the idea of a fae helping, a spirit helping, maybe an ancestral guide was helping you stay alive down there. Maybe you were in danger, but it was protecting you. That could happen.
Or maybe a time stop where time moved for you but didn't move for others, or maybe you dimension shifted. There's so many things that we hear about that it sounds like this could be, but listen, you are not crazy. I don't know how many times we need to stress this, because this is something you experienced.
We literally
right?
hear this every time somebody comes up to us to talk to us. And we were talking about this with a bunch of other podcasters and researchers and investigators. And I've been doing this 30 plus years. And every time somebody's, hey, this is the thing. And I'm like, yep.
There are mental illnesses out there that can cause you to hallucinate, right? There's truth. There's also medicine that can cause you to hallucinate and all kinds of things.
And weird things can happen around you that you don't even realize are happening that can cause these.
But with that said, it's unlikely an 8-year-old was suffering from this particular situation. So we do believe you. That sounds cool as hell. And that sounds like a little story you could write up, a little kid's story. So I'm going to encourage you to do that, because that sounds like fun.
That's a good way to go into break, I think. So listen to these words from our sponsors and please check them out and visit them. And that way we can keep doing more of these. Eerie, Appalachia. Gear up for a frightful jaunt into the darkest reaches of the ancient Appalachians. Folks deep within the Appalachian hollers lean close to the campfire to share stories of the inexplicable with hushed awe. Monsters rumbling in the hills, strange lights darting through the pitch black night sky, horrible occurrences almost ineffable in their bizarre tragedy. Tall tales, you might say. Tell that to the Flatwoods monster in Braxton County, West Virginia, or the Goat Man of Louisville. Look into his humanoid eyes and let him know you don't believe. And what of those apparitions in Mammoth Cave's Corpse Rock, or the Satan spawn known as the Jersey Devil? How do you respond when confronted by these mysteries? From the metaphysical energy that swirls near Serpent Mound in Ohio to Point Pleasant's Mothman legacy, Mark Muncy and Carrie Schultz explore the dark history lurking in the shadows of Appalachia. Read by Mark Muncy, author and experts on strange folklore with appearances on shows such as Ancient Aliens, The Curse of Robert the Doll, and many, many more.
Destiny Beard, the lyrical soprano who will haunt your dreams. With her alluring melodies and intricate harmonies, this dark siren of wistful song shall capture your soul and lead you into the night. Check out Destiny's new single, The Haunting Is Over, with international musicians Sam Haines and Gary Bennett, as well as her other musical works at destinybeard.com.
We're back.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
And we're front too.
Yeah, let's keep it going, shall
Keep
we?
it going. We've got some good momentum going here. So, all right, your turn.
Okay, here we go. Okay, I believe I have my first message to you travelers. Yay!
Hey.
Welcome, welcome. Okay, here we go. So I took my daughter to a local festival today, about 30 minutes away. When we got to parking and got out of the truck, I immediately realized my AirPod wasn't in my ear anymore. It was there up until we turned to park because I was talking to my dad. I quickly looked around on the ground inside the truck, never found it. Decided to put the left one in and wait till we left to look again. 2 hours later, we left. I got home and searched the truck again. Decided it was gone. About an hour after we got home, I went into my room to change, turned to my dresser, and my freaking AirPod was on top of a shirt on the dresser. There's just no way. Cute little emoji. I'm still freaking out. Anonymous. You have a fae friend.
Yeah. Somebody was looking out for you, found your thing, may have borrowed it for the day, but brought it back.
That is a helpful fae. I would put some fruit outside. That is neat. That is cool. I love helpful fae.
I don't think anything worried about that. Hey, it worked. You got something. Again, stuff we don't understand. It could just be positive speaking, ancestral spirits. It's a lot of things there. Helpful
Agreed.
aliens. Who knows? So
Agreed.
all right. Preternatural right there in a nutshell. So, okay. This one's nice. I like this one. The good folks in the Appalachian Spirits Haunting and Folklore group on Facebook suggested I message you all here. Well, thank you.
Wonderful. We'll have to do a thank you.
Yeah, something very creepy happened to me 2 mornings ago about 2 a.m. There's a lot of twos there. I couldn't remember if I locked up the chickens and the dog was barking. He's normally very quiet. So I went to check their gate, which is close enough to see from the patio doors, but I can't see if it's latched. I expected to have to chase off a coon or a possum, so I was hyper-focused on dealing with that. Walking to the gate, I kept hearing a repeated clacking that sounded really close. I wonder if that's Beau on the clackety clack. I thought maybe it was a bug or an animal call. My mind was foggy, and Otis was carrying on and looking toward the creek behind the house that's down a cliff which borders the entire backyard and those of everyone on the street. He acted scared but defensive at the same time. I heard a pretty loud clack, clack, clack every 2 or 3 seconds. I became more alert and began to wonder what it was. And when I stood on the deck and looked that way, it stopped for a bit. Then clack, clack, sounding like someone smacking rocks together loudly. I started realizing something with 2 hands must be doing this. I felt like I was being watched and to get back into the house immediately. I felt this awful fear, and I am not a fearful person. I walk all hours of the night by myself in safe areas, armed, of course. The clacking began to sound farther away, like whoever was doing it was moving away. It went on for another 20 minutes before the dog settled down and went to sleep. We've dropped a lot of trees down that cliff over the years. We've dropped 5 threatening the home just the day before right down that cliff. Maybe we ticked it off by blocking its stomping grounds. I live on the Ohio River, nestled in the hills all around us at the top of a holler. No sane person could trek the area down without breaking their necks, let alone get down there to do what? Knock rocks? People have sent videos of all sorts of animals making their clicks, from chipmunks to bears. Nothing matches this sound. After I laid down, I heard muffled thumps over my bedroom and bathroom. I felt that awful feeling again and had to chalk it up to my son smacking the wall with his size 14, LOL. Which he never does, but maybe just that night it was him. I checked the next day for rocks, sticks, etc., but I realized I used creek rock gravel for dressing up my landscaping, so I couldn't tell. Anything thrown on the roof or at the house would have landed in it and just blended in. I don't think of it being a Bigfoot or a spirit until the next day when my son reminded me of their habits and what he experiences. He lives in an area much like ours in northern Kentucky. He often has fist-sized clods of dirt or rocks thrown at him when he takes the garbage out. He's seen tall, dark figures lurking in the woods. He promised me he would never go looking again. It scared him that bad. I'm going to try to send a recording from the security footage when we get it sorted. I'm not saying it's a Bigfoot, but the Ohio Grassman, the local name for the Bigfoot Sasquatch footprints, have been seen just a 10-minute car ride from my home. My husband and his buddy saw one as seen in West Virginia, and he was very shook up and still doesn't like to talk about his experience much. Anyone you all know ever experienced this, and did you find out what it was? I'm a bit concerned for our safety. The only time I had hens missing is when I neglected to count heads before lockup or didn't secure the netting right. Never heard any whoops or wood knocks, but now I'm definitely going to be listening closer, LOL. Thank you for sharing your experiences and opinions. I'm still pretty shook up, and make sure I lock my birds up so I don't have to go out that late again. Sad emoji. Eerie. Wow. There's a lot to unpack there.
There is. And Eerie, thank you for this post. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sending it to us. Yeah, so my immediate thought is yes, Bigfoot.
This is classic. The
Yeah.
clacking of rocks, stuff like that. This is big. It's not wood knocks. Wood knocks is a certain type. The Grassman is known for being in rock quarries. Look at the Minerva monster.
Yeah.
It's a great documentary on that by our good friend Seth Breedlove of Small Town Monsters, where he interviewed the original family that witnessed the Minerva monster. They were throwing rocks, but they were clacking the rocks together to chase people away. So that sounds closer to this. Sounds like when you knock down some trees, you might have disturbed something.
Yeah, that's incredibly possible. And maybe it's coming up to go, hey, that was not cool. We did not like this mess you created.
Yeah, could be, again, could be something else. Could be
Yeah.
could be something. The sense of fear, that overwhelming sense of dread just suddenly coming on you, that could just be your instinct going into high gear. That, what, Erika, you call it the lizard brain.
And it's the lizard brain.
Just saying, get the heck out of Dodge. Again, that could be our fearmonger feeding on a primeval fear. There's a lot of things, but we would love to send a team out there.
Yes.
If you would. And now you were also mentioned in there that husband had seen a Bigfoot and still shook up about it, doesn't talk about his experience. That's what we get 90% of the time. People who have seen this thing has shaken their belief system to the core. They were told their whole lives, this is fake. This can't be real. There's no bodies. There's no skeletons. There's no proof of these things. But then they see it and it shakes them because, oh my gosh, it's like seeing that your first ghost or seeing your first paranormal experience. It doesn't make sense. So your brain tells you, okay, you didn't see it. You hallucinated it, but you didn't.
That, and I think that sometimes it's, one of the things that as humans we tend to do is we tend to want to make something that makes sense. Like that's part of our survival mechanism, is to put it into a category that makes sense to us. And when we can't, it kind of does an error in our survival glitchy matrix, right?
Yep.
And so this sounds like a team could do great if you'd let us do it. I mean, we have so many great teams that are not going to come make a fantastical spectacle of your thing, though. They are so super wonderfully observant, and they're just going to be there, and they'll kind of let you know what they find there. And they may go, yeah, there's a lot of Squatch activity here. And so not that you're going to change it, but what I might recommend as well is our peanut butter trick is go out and, you take the little seal thing off of it, but you open a peanut butter jar, take the seal, take the peanut butter, put it out there. It's kind of like the trade with the old man of the woods. Like we've had a few listener stories in Tales, Mark, where you've talked about like giving a bowl of soup and stuff like that. But just to make sure it's not other creatures is the reason we do peanut butter, because Squatch are able to open the peanut butter. So you may want to try that and see and kind of do a, I'm sorry for dropping shit in your home if that's what we did.
Sorry, we knocked down a sacred tree or something else to your people and stuff. And you also mentioned that your son lives in Northern Kentucky and has had some similar issues, and he's seen tall figures and stuff like that. These things tend to let themselves known to families. So if one member of family sees it, suddenly others start seeing it and stuff like that. And Northern Kentucky, that's where our secondary base of operations is. We have a area up there where we can investigate ourselves. So happy to help.
Let us know, and hey, if you want a visit from the Eerie Travels team, we will bring our friends up. Maybe we can talk a Stacy Brown or one of these
Outcast Paranormal, or we might even get some of the Skunk Ape people from Florida to head up for that one. So
that's what I was thinking, or RPG. We could just get
RPG or some of the others. Yeah.
Eerie Travels collective team and come up and visit you if you'd like. So there you go, which may be a great, cool thing, or you might be like, I don't want those ET people in my home.
I get you. I feel you. I feel you. Oh gosh. But Eerie, thank you so much for that.
Yes, thank you. Yes. Oh, I'm excited. I hope you let us investigate, because I'd love to do a follow-up on it. Okay, here we go.
All right, Erika, moving on.
Greetings, travelers.
Greetings.
This happened a few years ago now in 2017. It was a Monday morning. I feel like the stage is set for this. Here we go. I am a postman. I was delivering to a retirement home, which I did every day. As I walk into the building, there was always a few residents in the entrance, and they always asked, have I got any post, etc. And I got to know some of them by name and sight. This is Monday morning. My new house was due to complete, etc., so my thoughts were elsewhere. This particular lady, Mrs. Ball, who was always waiting there, said to me, can you see me? And I said, of course I can see you. No post today, and carried on. As I come back out to leave, she wasn't there. Oh, I already got the heebie-jeebies. I don't even know what's going to happen, and I'm freaked out. Okay, here we go. Okay. As I come back out to leave, she wasn't there. Nothing out of the ordinary, but thought it was very weird that she said, can you see me? I carried on, go through the day, etc. The following day, I entered the home and she wasn't waiting in the entrance, etc. As I go to see the manager clearing out Miss Ball's room. So I asked, how's Miss Ball? He replied, she died on Sunday night. Oh, full body goosebumps. Ooh, yes. Oh gosh. I was upset to hear this and kept going. It was only once my wife called me to say the house had completed, I realized Mrs. Ball I saw couldn't have been there, as she had died the previous night. But I saw her and spoke to her. It sent chills all over me. Alan. Well, Alan, there's two of us that have chills all over now. Wow.
Again, stuff we don't understand. We get that so many times. I get so many from rest homes and hospices, hospitals. We get nurses tell us all kinds of fun things, and even the occasional doctor that doesn't want their name exposed. But nurses are a little more friendly, but even then they still don't want their names out there too. This stuff. You saw something that had passed and was trying to reach out. You were something that was part of their regular day, and they were still grasping that. And again, I think postmen don't get enough love, so thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. And no, it sounds like she just quite wasn't sure what was happening. That's what it sounds like to me, that she was like a little disoriented maybe, and went to her normal routine of coming to see you and ask about mail. And maybe she'd been ignored by other people. So that's why she asked you, can you see me? Because maybe that had happened earlier.
And like we said, some people can see these things, some things can't. So it amazes us that you could be standing right next to somebody and you're looking at a spirit or whatever you want to call it, and the person next to you can't see them because they're just not in tune with that wavelength.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, Alan, thank you so much for your story. Congratulations on your new house.
Yeah, congrats, and keep us posted.
Yeah,
See,
let us know if Mrs. Ball comes to visit you again.
you didn't see what I did here. That's fine. Keep us posted. Eh, eh.
Oh my God, Mark, sometimes I can't sit at the same table as you. This is one of those times. That was such a dad joke.
I know. I had to do it. It was low hanging fruit, but I had to grab it.
Very, very low hanging fruit,
All
but
right.
I get it. I get it.
All right. Moving on.
Over to you.
Maybe you or a listener can have some type of explanation to the following. Oh, I like how you worded that. That's good. I live in a border town next to Mexico, so I cross once in a while, maybe 6 to 10 times per year. When I do cross, I automatically get a text message from T-Mobile saying, "Welcome to Mexico," and such. So anyway, one night a few years ago, I went to sleep, not having traveled across recently, and I was dreaming I was in Mexico. Nothing special about the dream other than the fact that I was there. When I woke up, I had a message from my cell phone carrier saying, "Welcome to Mexico," as if though I had actually gone physically with my phone. Mind you, both my sons and mother are in my cell phone plan and live with me. None of them received a message similar. Nobody had access to my phone to take it to Mexico and come back and lay it in my bed next to me. So I don't know what actually happened there. Lena.
Well, Lena, thank you for writing. And I think you went to Mexico.
I'm going to say the Occam's razor here. The easiest description is you live on the border, right? You say you live near there. Sometimes cell towers go down. And when a cell tower goes down, it routes you to the next nearest cell tower, which could be in Mexico. And then suddenly you get that ping. Now, the fact that the rest of your family didn't get it is the one thing that maybe keeps that from being the answer. But that is what happens sometimes, because I'll get, when we're traveling, sometimes we'll get the "Welcome to Tennessee" on the satellite, and then we'll get it on the Google a little bit later. So the borders are a little vague. That's the rational explanation, but
It's not the rational, it is one explanation.
One explanation. That is the science explanation, the modern science explanation. But I am willing to say that something you may have traveled. I agree. I think you may have traveled in your sleep.
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible. It's very, I don't know, it's very interesting. There's so many things coming up, and I'd love to know exactly when this was, because I'm curious if it aligns at all with the collider or, any of that stuff that happened.
There's a lot of things it could be. So, especially with all the geomagnetic stuff going on right now with the solar storms, that's why we all could see this northern lights earlier this month, all the way down to Florida. And a lot of people were like running out to see them. I was getting people who were like, "Oh my God, I can see the northern lights." And then people were driving middle of nowhere and not seeing anything. And they're like, "Well, how are people in Florida seeing this?" It's like, it wasn't you could see it, your phone could see it, because the phones had, can see different frequencies, but some people can see those different frequencies as well. So that's one of those things. The brain's wired differently for everybody. I didn't see them until I turned on my phone. We were actually in northern Kentucky for a research trip, and I was able to pull out my phone and see them, but I couldn't see them in person. So it's one of those things. Science is weird.
Lena, it's weird. And so it could be something as simple as a cell tower jump. We don't want to discount that.
No,
but it could be something else. I would look to see if it happens again. But maybe one thing you could do is do a little research on cell phone tower sites, because a lot of times they list when they were down, like they track their outages and things like that. I think they legally have to because of stuff, which I don't understand. But you may want to look on the site and see if it went down at that time. And if it didn't go down at that time or wasn't reported, who knows what it could be. But you're safe, and I love that. And, if you're going to go visit Mexico in your dreams, maybe don't take your cell phone. It might not be helpful. Just throwing that out there. You never know. Okay, next one. We only got two more. You guys.
Hey.
Look how that started. Hello.
Hello, greetings.
Greetings. I just had a crazy thing happen. Not the craziest I've seen by all means, but I'm curious to know if other people have experienced it. I was on FaceTime with my husband at lunch and sitting in my recliner talking to him. Out of nowhere, the FaceTime camera pans up from me, follows the line behind me in the kitchen, and focuses on the other recliner in the room. I'm just sitting there stunned, and this sort of thing continues throughout our conversation, with some things that actually seem to be interactive. Have you had this happen? It was so bizarre. I've never seen the camera pan like that, especially several times in a row. The first time was the one that really affected me, with slow panning upwards and then over and landing on the other chair. Like, what? Casey. Well, hello, Casey.
Hello, Casey.
That's weird. That's
Yeah.
weird because normally the phones, now here's the thing, it's technology that I don't even completely understand how this little teeny device does all the things our gigantic other devices used to do. So by no stretch of the imagination do I have a scientific opinion on this. But at the same time, I do know that the cameras will follow objects in the room because that's what they're trained to do. So maybe you guys had somebody else visiting you for that lunch and that thing moved from you're off your chair over to the other chair.
Again, phones can see wavelengths and stuff that we can't with the naked eye, that just what we discussed with the Northern Lights. I love that idea that something shifted over, but we also have a lot of false positives with that. That's what happened with SLS cameras. That's why I'm not a big fan of those. They make good television, but they're not exactly great for scientific study because, oh, look, there's a form standing on that box. And it's just, that's what the cameras are meant to do. They were made for the Xbox Connect, not the Xbox 360. They were made for the Xbox Connect or the Xbox 360. Yeah. So not the Xbox One or Xbox XS or whatever. These things were made to try to pick up movement, and they were very generically made. Now they've improved over the decades, but still not crazy responsive. And that's, our phones are much more highly advanced than that. So they pick up other things, and the AIs are trained to follow and zoom in on your face and lock onto your face and stuff like that. So that's, it could just be simply that the AI picked up something. But that said, I think something moved over and sat in that chair and kept drawing attention to it, and the phone was picking it up that your eyes weren't.
That it's, yeah, definitely interesting, but harmless, it sounds like, I like it when it's harmless. So that sounds fun.
Yep. Interesting stuff. And FaceTime, I don't use
Casey,
much.
that was,
do
sounds like you
FaceTime a
guys had a
lot.
lunch date with a little thing that you don't even know. That's
Yeah.
cool.
You use FaceTime a lot, Erika. I don't at all.
I
but
do.
you have
And
grandkids.
this is why I can say, because I FaceTime a lot with my little, my daughter and my grandbaby, because my grandbaby wants to talk to me all the time, and that we're many states away.
Great way to do it.
Yeah. So you've even been on when I've been FaceTiming
Yep.
with them. I haven't ever had this happen where it's panned to nothing, so that's just a little odd to me. And yeah, it's a little bizarre because for all of my years of use of this particular thing, I have not had that occur. So, you know what, travelers, let us know if you guys have ever had something similar like this happen. Share your stories, because it would be interesting to see if there's a pattern or a consistency or a location or something like that. Because again, to your earlier story, the cameras can pick up things that we cannot pick up, and some devices can pick up things. And especially as they get more and more sleek and more streamlined and more like, they try to make them more and more clear, because we all remember like Polaroid cameras, or our cameras that we got, or those little, remember those ones with the little flash that when we were kids that were like a rectangle block from like Kodak. Yeah. We've all had cameras, and I can say when I look at cameras taken with my phone, which if you told me in 1984, you first of all have a phone that you can carry around that will take pictures and record things and do all the stuff our phones can do, like mini computers, I would have thought you were crazy. And they constantly, like, if you look at my iPhone, It has 4 lenses on the iPhone that are doing, I'm sure, all kinds of different things, including recording every part of my existence and sharing it with whoever gets that. So
Yeah.
who knows what the hell these things are going to be capable of even in the next year.
Yep. I mean, we go all the way back to Alexander Graham Bell, who invented the telephone, the regular telephone, and he heard weird things on the line. So he was thinking about it had to be ghosts. So he was going to invent a phone that talked to ghosts. That was his intention before he died. And that's
Well,
back all the way back then.
yeah, well, who knows? It could be fate, it could be ghosts, it could be something we don't even understand, a preternatural visitor that was like, hey, you guys are having a combo? I'm joining.
Yep. Well, thank you,
Okay, Mark, this
Casey.
is our final one.
I got this one literally right before we started recording, and I was happy to tuck this one in because it's too much fun. All right. So, hey, travelers. Hey,
Hey.
I'm a trucker out of Tucson. So, this guy passes me in Wyoming with absolutely no decals or DOT on his truck, a Department of Transportation symbol. The driver is decked out in full black Kevlar, gun strapped to his chest, and what looks like an MP5.
What's an MP5?
That's a machine gun.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's like a more powerful Uzi, more modern Uzi. His passenger is equally decked out. Oh, he's like, I'm about to pipe up and say something stupid on the radio because in my 20 years, I've never seen a ghost truck. That is before I noticed the U.S. government plates on the trailer and 2 Chevy Tahoes with U.S. government plates and blacked out windows following right behind it. Needless to say, I ain't going to fuck with that driver. I bet X had something in it. See you on the other side, Danny.
Oh, hello, Danny.
Hello,
Oh my
Danny.
gosh.
Keep us
Um,
posted.
yeah. So, Danny, I am going to say you made the Erika choice in that situation,
Yes.
and I admire you for it because Mark would have been trying to take pictures.
I would have taken pictures and tried to follow it and figure out what exit they were heading to.
Yeah.
But I always do that when we're driving on our trips and we pass military equipment and stuff. But then when I say, oh, it's, Eglin Air Force Base or Fort Campbell, what was that last trip? Fort Campbell was right next to us. And we were driving through Kentucky and on our way to Hodag Festival. And I was like, oh yeah, that's Fort Campbell. So yeah, X might have had something in that. I don't know. He might have had the Roswell crash in there or the Flatwoods monster or any of these other things they might have been transporting. Wyoming, man, there's a lot of nothing out there. So there's a lot of things that they can hide out there.
Well,
What
and
do you
we've
think?
seen many movies that have them that well armed, and then none of them survive. So, uh,
Zombie
well,
apocalypse right there.
we
That
haven't.
definitely starts with like a Michael Bay premise right there.
Yeah, no, true. We haven't heard from X in a while, which me and
A little
Mark have
over a month,
discussed
little
makes
over a
us,
month, which is a while for us. So
yeah. So,
last one was pretty ominous.
yes, it's very ominous, but I don't think X had anything to do with this particular thing. But it sounds like something did, and whatever they were transporting was dangerous enough to believe that they needed that kind of armament. So, I'm glad you were able to steer clear of that, and hopefully you stay clear of that.
Yep. So keep on trucking, Danny. Thanks so much.
Yes, absolutely. And
Oh,
with
gosh.
that, travelers, oh my gosh, you are always so amazing. I love listener stories. Keep
Yeah,
sending
my
them.
gosh, keep them coming. Keep them coming. We love them. We are trying to do at least once a month on these. And if we get more, we'll do more. So we know y'all
Yes.
love them too. Thank you for those that sent those to us, that Facebook group that recommended us. Hey, share us with your Facebook groups to see if you can get more interactions with us. If somebody messages you and tells you a cool story, say, hey, let Eerie Travels know about this. They might be able to help. Or at the very least, they'll share it out. We would love more
Yeah.
like that.
First of all, I do want to say with these listener stories, the cool thing is these are your stories out there, travelers, not our stories. We just get the opportunity to share them. And one of the things I think it helps with, so if you're sitting there going, I don't know if I should share, one of the things is that it does help because other travelers may have experienced similar things and are sitting there. How many of our stories today had people saying they thought they were crazy or that we would think they were crazy telling us that story?
Yep.
too many. So just know that if you send us your story, it does also help others who maybe are in similar situations and are afraid to share what they experienced.
And look how many of these, as scary as some of these sound and as dark and terrifying as some of them, but as lighted fun as some of them, nobody's gotten hurt in any of these. So
Yeah.
that was a big thing for me. Nobody hurt. We did have a ghost visit and stuff like that.
You got that earbud back.
Yeah, the earbuds back, all that. My gosh. Anyway, that said, gang, if you want to drop us a line, you can do it various ways. You can send us an email, mark@eerietravels.com or info@eerietravels.com. You can visit eerietravels.com. There's a form there on the contact us page where you can reach out. You can also go to our Discord, which links in the show notes, and we'd be happy to talk to you there too. You can also reach out to us on Facebook or any of our social medias. We get them from all over, get them on TikTok. You can find us. And with that, Erika, I'm just going to say thank you to our patrons, as always, for helping keep this show on the road. And thank you to our sponsors. Please visit them and patronize them. Hey, look at that. I used a word.
Not the right word, but yeah.
All right. All right. All that said, travelers, we will see you next time. But while you're out there traveling, watch out for ghost trucks. Make sure that you leave an offering out for anything that might help you find your earbuds. And then if Mrs. Ball asks if you can see her, tell her yes. And we will see you on the other side.